Good afternoon, and welcome to the Lincoln City Council meeting of April 22nd, 2024. In accordance with LB 898, please be advised that a copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted at the back of the chamber by the northwest door. Let us all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a brief period of silent meditation. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. The order of business of the City Council is as follows. The clerk will read the items listed on the agenda. Under public hearing, anyone wishing to speak on an item should come forward after the clerk reads that item. The council shall require any member of the public desiring to address the council to identify themselves, the name of an organization or group, including an address that you may be representing, unless the address requirement is waived to protect the security of the individual. The applicant may then make one short rebuttal. Each speaker should begin by stating their name, address, organization or group, and whether you are speaking in favor of or in opposition to the item. Testimony is limited to 5 minutes per speaker. After all public hearings, the council will vote on resolutions and items listed under third reading. On the second and last Mondays of the month, immediately prior to adjournment, anyone may speak on any issue not on the agenda for that date nor planned for a future agenda. Madam Clerk, would you please call our first item of business?
Up first, we have the Mayor's Award of Excellence.
Mayor Gaylor Baird, welcome.
Hey, thank you so much, Chairman Beckius, and good afternoon, members of the council. It is truly a pleasure to be here today to present the Mayor's Award of Excellence for February 2024 to several members of our team at the Bennett Martin Public Library. Library Service Associates Kim Jorgensen, Cindy Krashensky, Sharon Sayer, Scott Clark, and librarian Ali Bousquet were nominated by Library Public Services Coordinator Leanne Sargent in the category of Valor for their efforts to help save a man's life last year. Their heroic efforts began on the afternoon of December 22nd when Scott Clark and Sharon Sayer noticed a patron slumped over with his head on a table who appeared to be sleeping. Sharon quickly notified the library's contracted security guard, Firas Parali, who's also here with us today, who found the patron unresponsive. Firas then notified staff of the medical emergency and instructed them to call 911. And Library Service Associate Cindy Krashensky then notified the supervisor on duty, Ali Bousquet, who promptly called 911 while Cindy assisted Firas. And meanwhile, Kim Jorgensen got the defibrillator and was ready for action with the team. As Cindy and Ali relayed information to the 911 operator, Firas carefully laid the patron down on the floor. The operator instructed library staff to provide chest compressions, which Firas then initiated. And after a full minute of chest compressions, the patron suddenly moved. And shortly thereafter, Sharon Sayer directed a team of Lincoln Fire and Rescue paramedics to the patron, who transferred him to a hospital. And one of those first responders went on to praise the swift actions and concerted efforts of our library team, noting that they, quote, did exactly what they needed to during the incident. In the nomination letter, Sargent pointed out how library staff routinely go above and beyond to help people, and how in this situation there was, quote, absolutely no hesitation on anyone's part to jump into action and try to help. In this case, their help meant saving the life of one of our community members. And while we cannot give Firas an award since he's not technically a City of Lincoln employee, we also want to show our gratitude to him as well. He speaks 3 languages and essential to the warmth, safety, and professional customer service that patrons receive every day when visiting our downtown library. So, Firas, would you please stand so we can recognize you and thank you. With that, I hope you will please join me in congratulating these life-saving heroes, Kim, Cindy, Sharon, Scott, and Allie, for their calm and concerted, compassionate life-saving rescue. Please come forward. Our libraries director, Ryan Weber, is here to say a few words, and you all just want to stand by.
Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon, City Council members. The events that took place that evening, December 22nd, don't happen every day within the library. I don't think we've had an incident like this in a long time. But I can tell you that our library staff members, and including especially this team here, as Leanne in her comments indicated, that they acted without hesitation. Our team acts with valor every single day, indeed, though, with anyone who walks into the library, whether their request for information or finding a book is big or small. Without hesitation, our team is there to serve with compassion and readiness and humility. I can tell you that they do this with a smile, and I also would not hesitate to say that it's a little bit awkward for them to be up here because they're just doing their job. This time it turned out to be a little bit different, but in reviewing the circumstances, it was plain to see and so rewarding to see that they impacted this person's life by saving his life. So with that, I would like to introduce Leanne Sargent. Leanne is the supervisor for this team.
Thank you. Thank you, Council. I just wanted to say thank you again. I get to brag about my team real regularly. But everybody that works there is amazing, and I think this group of people just exemplified the services that people do provide on a daily basis. They do make it a welcoming and warm environment, and I thank you guys for everything that you do every day.
Would any of you like to say anything, or do you have family you'd like to point out so we can thank them as well for their support of your service? Any family members here?
I have family.
Yeah.
My husband, Peter Jorgensen, who also works for the library.
Yeah?
Daughter, Eleanor, who formerly worked for the library, but working elsewhere now.
My wife, Becky Worm Clark, is also in the audience, who retired from library service of 46 years.
And my husband, Rick Krashinsky, is here.
All right.
Well, we're so grateful to all of you for what you do every day, and especially in this particular instance, it's an honor to have you here, and we're so grateful for your time to celebrate their heroic efforts.
Thank you all so much on behalf of all of us. Thank you. We will give our award winners here a few moments to exit the chambers and go have their pictures taken and have some fun. Thank you. Madam Clerk, whenever you are ready.
All right, up next we have our consent agenda. That is items 1 through 2.
Is there anyone here to speak on our consent agenda? That would be anything listed under sections 1 and 2. Director, welcome.
Good afternoon, Maggie Stuckey-Ross with Parks and Recreation. Come on up, Cody. I'm excited to introduce you to Cody, who's our nominee for the Veterans Memorial Garden Advisory Committee. As you know, the Veterans Memorial Garden, located in Antelope Park, has a special committee assigned to help us and help the programming and the facility remain the gem that it is. So we're thrilled to add to our ranks today, and I'll let you introduce yourself. And
Hey, Cody.
Hi, I'm Cody Schaaf, and I'm a veteran, so I fit the bill, I guess.
Yep. Cody, thank you so much for giving your time to the City of Lincoln in this manner. We really appreciate it. It's very helpful. Let me see if any of my colleagues have any questions for you. Any questions for Cody?
Just a simple thank you.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Thank you, Cody.
I do
Yes,
want to
sir.
say one thing.
Yes, sir.
That, Riley and Daly have been emailing me back and forth over the last few months, kind of getting all this set in place. I want to thank them for all the work they did to help me get here. So they were awesome to work with.
Those two are very important, making sure
Yeah.
we have our correct appointments in place
Yeah.
for the city.
They were
So,
awesome.
yeah.
So, that's all I got.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks
Thank
for
you
coming
so
down,
much.
Cody.
Yep.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thanks for your service.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here who would like to speak on anything on today's consent agenda? Those would be items on sections 1 and 2. All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, let's walk us through that.
All right, we can now vote on these items. Item 1A is appointing Cody Shape to the Veterans Memorial Garden Advisory Council for a partial term to expire November 1st, 2025, introduced by Duden.
So moved. Second.
Second, Carlson, discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 1B is reappointing Isabel Huertas and Adrian Lauer to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board for terms to expire May 31st, 2025, introduced by Duden.
So moved. Second.
Second, Carlson, discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 1C is reappointing Jessica Boren, Toot Kylich, Sherry Nelson, and Jonathan Peterson to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board for terms to expire April 27, 2027, introduced by Duden.
So moved. Second.
Second, Carlson, discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 1D is reappointing Dan Kuber to the Building Code Board of Appeals for a term to expire April 1st, 2027, introduced by Duden.
So moved. Second.
Second, Carlson, discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 1E is reappointing Kyle Biggerstaff to the Board of Mechanical Examiners for a term to expire April 4th, 2027, introduced by Duden.
So moved. Second.
Second, Carlson, discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 1F is approving the on-call professional services task order agreement supplement number 1 for preliminary engineering services between the City of Lincoln and Alfred Benish and Company, the 70th Street and Nebraska Parkway right turn lane addition, City Project 705641, introduced by Duden.
So moved. Second.
Second, Carlson, discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 1G is approving the on-call professional services task order agreement supplement number 1 between the City of Lincoln and Alfred Benish and Company, the 70th Street and Nebraska Parkway right turn lane addition, City Project number 705641, introduced by Duden.
So moved. Second.
Second, Carlson, discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Looks like that ends our consent agenda. We'll now move on to public hearing liquor resolutions. I will be calling 4A and 4B together. It's application of Norms Fuel and Food LLC, doing business as Norms on 48th Street, for a Class CK liquor license located at 2510 South 48th Street, and the related manager application of Stacy L. Sell.
Is there anyone here to speak on items 4A or 4B? Anyone here to speak on items 4A or 4B? All right, seeing none, let's go ahead and move on to 4C.
Item 4C is application of Lincoln Arts Council for a special designated license to cover an outdoor area measuring approximately 568 feet by 200 feet at 101 North 14th Street on May 3rd and 4th, 2024, from 4 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Is there anyone here to speak on item 4C? Anyone here to speak on item 4C? All right, seeing none, let's move on to 4D.
Item 4D is application of Rhino Dynamics Incorporated, doing business as Duffy's Tavern, for a special designated license to cover an outdoor area measuring approximately 568 feet by 200 feet at 101 North 14th Street on May 3rd and 4th, 2024, from 4 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Is there anyone here to speak on item 4D? Anyone here to speak on item 4D? Okay.
Mr.
seeing
Chair,
none.
seeing no one else coming forward to speak on these items, I'd like to make a motion that we approve item 4A through 4D.
Second?
Second, Washington discussion. All right, 4A,
Yeah, sorry. Can we back that up just for
Back
one
that
moment?
up a minute.
Sure. Mr. Chair, I'd like to withdraw my motion.
okay.
I would like to suggest that we take 4A and 4B and deny because they don't meet the zoning requirements.
Is there a second?
Second it.
Second, Duden, discussion? Okay, seeing none, please call the roll.
Washington,
No? Wait,
Wait.
Yes.
Your motion was for deny.
I was for denial, yes, to deny, thank you.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
I would entertain a motion on 4C and 4D.
My turn again, or you want to do it? Mr. Chair,
Yep.
thank you for your help, council. I'd like to motion approval of items 4C and 4D.
Is there a second?
Second,
Second, Washington discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Washington,
yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. That ends our liquor resolutions. Next is public hearing resolutions. Item 5A is Comprehensive Plan Conformance 24003, application of the City of Lincoln Urban Development Department to review as to conformance with the 2050 Lincoln Lancaster County Comprehensive Plan, a proposed new East Gateway Mall redevelopment plan consisting of 58 acres that will include the Shops at Lincoln redevelopment project and former McGinnis Ford redevelopment project for development of commercial and residential buildings generally located at North 66th and O Streets.
Director Hine, welcome.
Good afternoon, Peter Hine, Director of Urban Development, 555 South 10th Street. Really happy to be here to start this process to get this project underway to development. I'll put up the map to remind you. I know there's others in the room that'll say probably a little bit more in support of this and give some more information. Just wanted to remind you of the area that we included in the study and also including O Street and 66th Street. Want to remind everybody as well that this project will help create 242 jobs in Lincoln. $40 million of gross revenue is being projected. Remodeling and reusing over 100,000 square feet of existing space, which I think is really important, that we think of the existing building stock we have in our city and think of the value that it has. We're working with the developer right now quickly on the redevelopment agreement. That'll be before you soon. And also want to remind us that there's 3 new tenants coming, plus Tesla, which will be in the old tire shop of Sears. And this also allows us to look at redevelopment on the north side that you'll hear more about in just a moment. Do you have any questions on this?
Any questions for Director Hine at this point?
All right, I'll let.
Peter, I got
Yes.
one question. Does
Sure.
that include the 66th and O restaurant that's been closed for,
On the corner,
yeah,
they used to sell lobsters there.
yeah, there you go. Red Lobster.
Yeah, no, it does not include that. That's a different ownership group that's there and it not included. So you can just see here,
Okay.
that location is just out of this map right
It's
here.
out of it, okay.
Yes.
Other questions? Okay, very good.
Okay,
Thank
thanks
you.
very much.
Is there anyone else here who would like to speak on item 5A? Mr. Seacrest, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Kent Seacrest, representing Southview Inc. and CIP Communities, who are the owners of the former McGinnis Ford property, and Reserve Development, also under a LLC named Shops at Lincoln, who's the owner of the former Sears building. Randy Chevalier is here, can answer any questions about the former McGinnis property. He's the head of Senior Vice President and General Counsel for CIP Communities. And Glenn Gitto, there you are, is also here, and he's Director of Construction for Reserve Development Company. We're excited to be here for lots of reasons, but here are the two redevelopment project footprints, if they show up. And we, the northern one is the McGinnis Ford, and that's already come through with a pre-existing use permit for potentially 300 unit apartments and 70,000 square feet of commercial space or some combination thereof. And the former Sears is the bottom part, and that, as Peter mentioned, has got 3 new retail new to Lincoln, along with the Tesla car service center as part of it. And then there's the third piece, which is in the middle. That's part of the redevelopment plan. And they, let me show you that. I'm not involved with that group, but we've coordinated with them, and they're supporting this redevelopment plan. It's the former Chuck E. Cheese and former Panera Bread, and there's 3 buildings there in the middle. So they're part of the redevelopment plan. This is a copy of what you approved on the former McGinnis site. And what we're trying to do, I think, here is something very similar. What they have done on the west side of Greater Gateway. Mm-hmm. And that's their wonderful new housing project that's been very successful at Haven at Uptown. So they're hoping to do that, but they need some cooperation from the Federal Reserve and interest rates and before they feel more comfortable going forward. The former Sears, the upper picture is what it looks like today, and the bottom picture is what went through Urban Design Committee with support. And we also are going to update the ring road and improve that and landscape that and provide better circulation along the way. The property's been declared blighted thanks to you. We met the blight standards. We will be coming forward quickly, as Peter said, because we have 2 tenants that are planning to enjoy the Christmas season in Lincoln, Nebraska. So this is going very fast and well so far. And we just look forward to all this. And I think why this is so important is I think we have the owner of the Greater Gateway. This redevelopment plan has maybe woken them up, and they're looking and talking to Urban Development Department about what to do with Greater Gateway. And why this is so key is probably Greater Gateway, or with this properties, is probably the biggest retail sales tax generator for the city. And it's probably one of the biggest property tax generators for the city. And Gateway, hard to believe, but it's 60 years, no, it's 64 years old, built in 1960. And I can't stress enough how important it is to keep shopping centers viable. Because you probably have noticed, not in Lincoln, thank gosh, but in the rest of the country, we've seen a history where, you know, the mall started in about 1956, first one. And by 1960, there was 4,500 malls. And I'm going to give you the quick and dirty on this one. In 1990s, we started seeing mega malls that some of you maybe have seen across the country. But in 2017, we had 7,000 retailers close their stores in malls. And of course, several of them were J.C. Penney and Sears. And of course, J.C. Penney stays open here in Lincoln, but closed in 2019, and it's been dark ever since. We are starting to see what I call dead malls start to appear. And that is a real problem, converting malls, because they weren't meant to be converted very easily. And I've lost a lot of revenue for cities, and we do not want Lincoln to have that experience to come forward. Meanwhile, you've seen the retailers start to be specialized category busters, you know, the Costco's, Kruger's, Family Dollars, and all that start to show up. And then some of us, and I'll admit it, shop online, which has also had a tremendous impact. Remember that figure? We're now down, last in 2022, to 1,100 malls from, what did I say the high was? I even forget what I said. Anyway, we're the exception. And I think it's imperative that we do what we can to help support malls, because they are a resource that are important not only to the city, but to families and individuals along the way. We had a neighborhood meeting that was a small crowd, but they all expressed support at the meeting. Our facade plans have gone through urban design, planning department, and planning commission have recommended unanimously support for this redevelopment plan. And I want to just thank Peter and Ernie. They're really been cooperative at trying to get this project launched so that we can open hopefully a couple tenants for the Christmas season. With that, I'd be glad to answer any of your questions.
Questions for Mr. Seacrest? All right. Seeing none, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak on item 5A? Anyone else here for item 5A? All right. Seeing none, let's go ahead and move on to 5B.
Item 5B is approving and accepting the grant award agreement between the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services and the City of Lincoln on behalf of the Lincoln-Lancaster County Health Department for a minority health initiative with a focus on the social determinants of health and identifying actionable interventions to meet the needs of the diverse population being served from January 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025 in the amount of $659,657.03.
Welcome.
Hello. I was just here to answer some questions if you had any. My name is David Hum. I work at the Lincoln-Lancaster County Health Department. And these funds are not new. They're renewed funds anyway. Usually every 2 years. These are actually from the Nebraska legislature appropriated funds from the healthcare cash fund. And so they're distributed throughout the state to different counties based on minority populations. Here in Lancaster, our health department has received these funds for many years, and we've worked with our cultural centers to implement programming, help pay for staff at some of the cultural centers. Chronic disease prevention, injury prevention have been the topics, but that's the source of the funding anyway, to give you an idea.
Very good. Thank you, David. Let me see if we have any questions. Any questions at all? All right, seeing none. Thank you very much for coming down. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Is there anyone else here who would like to speak on item 5B? All right, let's move forward to 5C.
Be calling 5C and 5D together. It's approving the League of Nebraska Municipalities Redevelopment Project redevelopment agreement between the city and League of Nebraska Municipalities and Nebraska Nonprofit Corporation relating to the redevelopment of property generally located at 1335 L Street and 401 South 14th Street and adjacent rights-of-way. And related item 5D, amending the fiscal year 2023-2024 CIP to authorize and appropriate $436,625 in TIF funds for the League of Nebraska Municipalities Redevelopment Project.
Director Hine, welcome back.
Good afternoon again. Peter Hine, Director of Urban Development, 555 South 10th Street. Again, really happy to be in front of you today to bring this project to a final agreement. Really exciting. It's been wonderful to work with the League. I'm not going to talk about the building or much about the project as Travis Barrett's here, I think. There he is, right there, to talk about the project. He's an architect who could do a much better job than I can talking about the specifics of the building. this is just, since the first meeting we had with the league to today, it's been a wonderful project. You voted already to expand the project into our development. It's something that improving the downtown is just really important. They are going to, over time, expand their employees. And I wanted to get into the specifics of the TIF project, if I could today. The project budget's around $6.5 million, and the TIF is $436,625. It's small TIF, which means that we will not be having a bond issuance. We'll be doing it through the city. And I'll put up the TIF sources and uses here to look through those if there's any questions on them. But really, we're using site acquisition and demolition in order to make way for the new project. We felt that was the best way to allocate the funds for this. In the process of discussing the agreement and discussing the project, we did work with the design team and the league to really look at the design of the project. It's gone through Urban Design Committee with unanimous approval. But we did have conversations about the performance of the building, and I think you're going to see that it's 13% better than code. So we've had these conversations. As you know, it's in the Capital Environs District, so it was reviewed there. So the project is ready to go. It's going to be really exciting, and we look forward to your support on it. So I'll let Travis come up and talk about the specifics of it, and I'll be here to, are you going to talk about the site too?
I don't have a plan, but yeah, I can.
Well, to kick it off, I said I was going to let him talk about it, but I'll put the site plan up just to orient you. I can leave this here if you want to start with that and talk about the alley.
Great. Travis Barrett with Clark and Anderson, 1010 Lincoln Mall, architect for the project. Here, we're looking at the southwest corner of the intersection of 14th and L. What we're seeing is a new building, about 14,700 square foot, located in an urban setting, so close to the sidewalks on the property lines, which allows for a parking lot to be located towards the south, accessed off of the alley. So as part of this project as well, depending on how some of the bidding comes in, we are looking at using some of those TIF dollars to repair the alley and really make it a much more urban setting to this area. So all along L Street and along 14th Street as well, we'll look at it in the renders, but bringing in a higher level of landscaping to the property here, enlarging the sidewalks on L Street due to what we anticipate a higher pedestrian traffic happening here, creating an accessible sidewalk on that intersection, bumping out to protect the parking along L Street. Here's a view as we see on L Street with that main entry. Again, an Art Deco design building, taking a lot of the design cues from both the Capitol and the nearby buildings around it. We want this to be a building that's here for decades to come. It's an organization that has no intention to leave this site with this new building. So really representing a building that is timeless and very reminiscent to the buildings nearby in Lincoln as a whole. This north elevation highlighting that front entryway, the League of Nebraska Municipalities, some design cues for sure from even the buildings we're here in today, the city-county building, with verticality connecting the floors, first floor to second floor, with a white brick and black accents throughout. On this pedestrian scale, we're able to see how these windows to the first floor are protected, about that 32-inch band along the way with offices to the inside, and then a much higher level of landscaping. This is probably the first block in this area that's slated for the redevelopment that we really hope to carry out throughout the adjacent blocks in this area. So something much closer to like you see on P Street and on Centennial Mall as well. This is the east elevation here, so right along 14th Street, some landscaping there, parallel parking maintained. That bump out only happens on the L Street side, does not happen on this 14th Street. And then slated to the west of us, we do not own the property there, but it's minimizing the windows we see to that side, knowing that redevelopment can happen there soon, but it's really great connection back to the Capitol to the south. I think this pedestrian scale image here really highlights the project well, that we don't want this to be an isolated building that's separate from the urban fabric that we see here, but really integrated into it fully. These windows that we're looking into here on the first floor is a training room that will be visited by dozens of mayors regularly throughout the entire state, and really want them to feel part of the Lincoln urban fabric here. If we just turn around, it's a quick walk back to the state capitol, and then here just a gateway into the greater downtown core to the north as well. If you have any questions, I'd love to answer them. Along with me today is Lynn Rex, the executive director of the league, Scott Lockard with Hampton Enterprises, who will be the contractor for the project as well.
Very good. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Any questions? Okay. Thank you so much for coming down. We appreciate it. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak on this item? Anyone else here who would speak on items 5C and 5D? Andrew, welcome.
Good afternoon, members of the council. Andrew Willis, 233 South 13th Street, on behalf of the League of Nebraska Municipalities. I just wanted to add a few things. I don't know that there's much more to add, but again, as a reminder, through this redevelopment process, the redevelopment plan that's been approved by the council, this is obviously, you just saw the renderings and what this is going to look like. It's an exciting project. It's been through historic preservation as far as the demolition, and that's been approved. It's been through Capital Environs as far as the designs, and that's been approved as appropriate for this area and really fitting in well with the Capitol. It conforms to the comprehensive plan, taking some underutilized space, achieving one of the overarching goals of enhancing the downtown's role as the city of centers government employment sections. And just to point out a couple things in the redevelopment agreement, again, about a $6.5 million project, utilizing $436,000 in TIF to help bridge the funding, and really, again, it's site acquisition and that demolition and site prep costs. But in addition, the redevelopment also includes some additional public improvements as well. There's going to be some public right-of-way improvements, a bump out on L Street for reduced pedestrian crossing distance, some real improvements in the area that way. The facade enhancements, obviously, to complement the area, the energy efficiency that Director Hine mentioned, and again, with that, the demolition of the Women's Club building, there's a provision there mitigating the losses, providing some historic, like a plaque or some sort of commemoration of that to acknowledge that historic perspective, even with this new development. So keeping that as part of this overall. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions for Mr. Willis?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak on this item? Ms. Rex, welcome.
Thank you. Lynn Rex, 1335 L Street, right now in the Sharp Building, temporarily until July of 2025. But really wanted to thank you for your consideration today. This is a very important project, and as indicated before, this is a project that will be serving municipal officials and other public officials across the state for decades to come. And we think it's going to be a significant improvement to the urban area. And we look forward to being in our new building and appreciate your consideration and everything that you're doing with respect to tax remit financing and the amazing staff that you have. That it's just been a privilege working with them. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions?
Thank you. It's a good project.
Thanks again for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak on items 5C and 5D? Todd, welcome.
Hi, Todd Ogden, 206 South 13th Street, Suite 101. I'm President and CEO of Downtown Lincoln Association, and happy to be here today in support of this development. We, as a board and an organization, had the privilege of hearing about this redevelopment. Lynn was there to present, and our board was very excited and voted unanimously in favor of this project. We're really excited that the league not only just appreciate how much they support the municipalities around the state, but certainly them as champions for our urban neighborhood as well. And especially by championing staying in downtown Lincoln and supporting this development, the previous development, and moving forward, it'll just add to the landscape with downtown Lincoln that we're really appreciative of. So unless you have any questions, just here to give our support for the project.
Thank you, Todd. Appreciate it. Any questions for Todd? All right, seeing none. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, Director.
Can I just add one other thing? Peter Hine, Director of Urban Development, 555 South 10th Street. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't punctuate the comment that Andrew made about the Women's Club, which is a local landmark building that is being raised for this project. When we talked about the project early on, it was pointed out that it didn't have a permit. It needed to go through the process, and it did go through the process, the Historic Preservation Commission. And what was wonderful about it is what happened in the building was the important part in why it was landmarked. It wasn't the building itself per se, but it's always a shame to remove a building for sure. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't say this, because I said keeping Sears was great, but now we're going to knock down a building for another building. That seems a little strange to me. But the league did got in contact and hired a historian to document the history of the Women's Club in Lincoln and the women's involvement and impact on the city of Lincoln and oral history. There's a webpage, archive of photos, historic and building survey and plan. So they've documented the building, and they're going to honor this history on the site. And so I think it's a compliment to Lynn and her team for what they're doing to keep that history that's there. And so I just wanted to make sure that I made that point before I sat down again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director. One last call. Anyone else here who would like to speak on items 5C and 5D? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, let's vote on these items.
All right, item 5A, Comprehensive Plan Conformance 24003, application of the City of Lincoln Urban Development Department to review asset conformance with the 2050 Lincoln-Lancaster County Comprehensive Plan, a proposed new East Gateway Mall redevelopment plan consisting of 58 acres that will include the Shops at Lincoln redevelopment project and former McGinnis Ford redevelopment project for development of commercial and residential buildings generally located at North 66th and O Streets, introduced by Duden.
So moved.
Second, Carlson. Discussion. I would just like to thank these developers for their continued investment in Lincoln and East Gateway. We appreciate that. Please call the roll.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. Item 5B, approving and accepting the grant award agreement between the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services and the City of Lincoln on behalf of Lincoln-Lancaster County Health Department for a minority health initiative with a focus on the social determinants of health and identifying actionable interventions to meet the needs of the diverse population being served from January 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025 in the amount of $659,657.03, introduced by Duden.
So moved. Second.
Second, Carlson. Discussion.
I just have a comment that I'd like to make. The Board of Health, which I sit on, recently met with the Health Equity Initiatives Coordinator last month, and she is excellent. She's responsible for a lot of the tasks on here. She's doing a great job. And when we look at the priority and strategy areas with the Minority Health Initiative, there's some really good things in there, and I would encourage people to check it out. Our health department's doing good work reaching as many Lincolnites as possible. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Bowers. Other comments? Okay, let's go ahead and call the vote on that one.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. Item 5C, approving the League of Nebraska Municipalities redevelopment project redevelopment agreement between the city and League of Nebraska Municipalities and Nebraska Nonprofit Corporation relating to the redevelopment of property generally located at 1335 L Street and 401 South 14th Street and adjacent rights of way, introduced by Duden.
So moved.
Second. Second, Carlson. Discussion? Yes, Councilman?
Kind of in the same vein, Lynn Rex has to be one of the sharpest people that I've ever met.
Agreed.
Literally. And I just want to thank the league for doing everything they can to preserve local control and allowing local elected officials to maintain their control and to shape our own destinies.
Other comments? Okay, seeing none, please call the roll.
Bowers?
Yes.
Carlson?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Duden?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 5D, amending the fiscal year 2023-2024 CIP to authorize and appropriate $436,625 in TIF funds for the League of Nebraska Municipalities redevelopment project, introduced by Duden.
So moved.
Second.
Second, Carlson. Discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Carlson?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Duden?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. We'll move on to public hearing ordinances, second reading. Item 6A is Street and Alley Vacation 24002, application of Hoppy and Son LLC to vacate a portion of the east-west alley generally located between D and E Street from South 13th to South 14th.
Director Hind, welcome.
Good afternoon. Peter Hind, Director of Urban Development, 555 South 10th Street. I'm going to be very brief today because Fred Hoppy and Mike are here to talk about a little bit more of the technical things of this. Our office, as you know, houses real estate and housing rehabilitation. Michelle in our office is a genius. She's looked into this and established a value of $5,585 for this vacation that the developer has paid for the purchase. And I'll just give you a quick map here of what we're talking about. So essentially what this vacation does is allows the developer to build over the top of it. They have agreed, and I'm sure they'll talk more about public access and easements and utilities. We've helped and worked a little bit with utilities and low voltage to go underground, and we're going to continue to work on that for the entirety of the alley. And so if there's any questions you have for urban development, I'd be happy to answer them, but we're here just really to kick it off, and this is the first step in really getting this project to an agreement where we can do a really wonderful project in this area. Any questions?
Any questions for Director Hind? All right, seeing none.
Thanks
you
for your
so much.
consideration.
You bet. Mike, welcome.
Good afternoon, not evening yet. Mike Eckert with Civil Design Group here in Lincoln, Nebraska, 8535 Executive Woods Drive, Suite 200. We're the civil engineer on this property for Hoppy Engineering. And yes, it is a situation where we're essentially going to span the building over that section that we abut on both sides of the alley. We're replacing it with a public access easement on the plat and a utility easement to the city. There's a sewer line that goes under there, and that utility easement will also work for Windstream, LES, and all those providers. And so in doing so, the other thing that we agreed to in the use permit was to maintain the entire alley, even the section that we're not occupying. And so as I tried to argue as vigorously as I could that it was actually a windfall to the city, we still wrote them a check for $5,000 and change to get this done. So, but it was, we were grateful they were willing to do it. It made this feasible. We are meeting all the height requirements to continue to get emergency access vehicles underneath that area of it that we span. So this will be the last step, and then we'll lay the final plat back over the top of it to grant those easements again as soon as it's processed. So be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Mike? Councilwoman.
I don't have a question, but I do have a thank you, because I do think this is a win-win situation.
Yeah, well, it's a great project, 125 affordable housing units in this area of town that's badly needed. So I appreciate all the City of Lincoln and private utilities working with us to get this done.
Won't have to shovel any snow on that section of the alley, though.
Yeah, that, no snow, right, exactly. So that's why we'll do the other half.
Other questions? Okay, very good. Thank you, Mike. We appreciate it. Fred, welcome.
Thank you. My name's Fred Hoppy. I'm Hoppy and Son. And my address is 1600 Stony Hill, Lincoln, Nebraska. As Peter said, this is kind of the first step that we're taking since, and I will tell you this, we got authority to issue bonds to build the buildings. And that came kind of this month. And so it's important for us to get this put in place, because to get the densities and make the project work the way it's intended, we got to cross that alley. And to cross the alley, we got to get all this stuff vacated. And I wrote that check. So I'm very proud of that. And I'd answer any questions, but the project is really a great one. It's 125 units of affordable housing on top of Clinic with a Heart. And we're going to have kind of a double clinic there, so that with the same staff, but set up so that really it's going to serve that neighborhood with health care. And then above that, we'll have additional affordable housing. And we'll come back again to work through the TIF process and show you the plans after the plans have been approved by the Urban Affairs Committee or whatever, Design Committee, and all that kind of stuff. But I'm sure you'll be as proud of it as I am when you see it, because we got a pretty good deal going, we think. Anyway, we'd appreciate your vote next week on the project and moving it forward, selling us the dirt. Any questions?
Any questions for Fred? Okay, very good.
You bet.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak on item 6A? Anyone else here for item 6A? Okay, seeing none, let's move forward.
That ends our public hearing. We'll move on to section 7, ordinances, third reading and related resolutions. Item 7A is approving the lease agreement between the City of Lincoln on behalf of Lincoln Parks and Recreation Department and Parks and Recreation Foundation for the lease of space by Lincoln Parks and Recreation Foundation at 3131 O Street, Suite 300, from May 1st, 2024 through April 30th, 2034, introduced by Carlson.
So moved.
Second.
Second, Washington, discussion. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 7B is amending Lincoln Municipal Code Section 8.20.030 definitions to revise the definition of food establishment and vendor to add mobile food establishments and vendors trucks by amending Section 10.02.470 vendors truck to update the definition to include motor vehicles, cabin trailers, and products or services intended for sale which are carried in or provided for retail sale, by amending Section 10.02.480 vend or vending to update the definition to include products or services for sale from a vendor's truck, by amending Section 10.46.110 vending rules to add that a person shall not vend or allow vending from any lot or alley within a residentially zoned district, and that a person shall not allow a vendor's truck to vend between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. within a residentially zoned district. Introduced by Duden.
So moved.
Second.
Second, Carlson, discussion.
I do have a motion to amend this. Is this appropriate right now?
Yep.
Or- Okay. Hereby move to amend Bill number 2436, introduced on April 8, 2024, by adopting the substitute ordinance attached.
And I'll second that motion to amend.
Second, Weber, discussion. Seeing none, please call the roll on the motion to amend.
Weber,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
Back to the main motion. Any discussion on that? All right, please call the roll on the main motion.
Weber,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 7C is Comprehensive Plan Conformance 24004, declaring approximately .9 acres of city-owned property generally located at 10th and N Streets as surplus, introduced by Carlson.
So moved.
Second?
Second, Washington, discussion. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 7D is Comprehensive Plan Amendment 24002, application of the City of Lincoln to amend the Lincoln-Lancaster County 2050 Comprehensive Plan to revise the Priority Growth Areas map to change from Tier 3 and Tier 1 Priority B to Tier 1 Priority A, property generally located near the intersection of North 70th Street and Interstate 80, introduced by Carlson.
So moved.
Second?
Second, Washington, discussion. Yes, Councilman?
So we're voting on multiple things, so I'm just going to condense all my statements into one. I'm disappointed by the process that led us here today. I was gearing up for my town hall in August when my constituents and I first got notice of the state's plan to put a prison in Northeast Lincoln, starting at 102nd and Adams and ending on 112th. It was a shock to everyone. No community forums to gather neighborhood dialogue, no process to ensure that everyone was being treated fairly, and no follow-up with those of us in Northeast Lincoln residents avoiding accountability. I would like to thank the council members who joined the letter with state senators, county commissioners, and North Lincoln leaders, cutting across political parties calling on more transparency. As our letter stated, this announcement has generated a lot of confusion and discomfort for homeowners, families, businesses, and other residents. Our voice and participation in the process has been taken away from us, and we respectfully request more information and a stronger commitment to transparency. Unfortunately, we never got that. I'm proud of my neighbors in Northeast Lincoln for banding together and getting their voice heard and being a crucial force in moving the prison out of Northeast Lincoln's fastest growing area, and I want to acknowledge Kathy Martinez's leadership spanning several neighborhoods and coordinating the effort. To be clear, I'm not happy with the current proposed site. It still impacts families, and for that, I'm sorry. As I said in the beginning, Northeast Lincoln does not need a new prison. It is disappointing that we will now be responsible for $7 million to build infrastructure for a prison that Lincoln did not ask for or have a say in. The reality is the state has the power here. We don't have the leverage, and we cannot force the state to participate in further public process. The state is exempt from following our local ordinances, zoning, and process. Northeast Lincoln residents have made it clear that this location, while not ideal, is a better option than the one on 102nd and Adams. And it's unfortunate that we've been forced to essentially choose between two sites as opposed to the original 70 sites that the state said that they went through. My calls on the state to release all 70 sites still remain, the communication that led to the original decision, and to answer questions from those of us in Northeast Lincoln, like why not build a site where the prison currently is or on other state land as opposed to spending $17 million to purchase new land. Voting no on this does not force the state to the table to have further conversation or to compromise, but instead takes away the lesser of two evils. Taking away local control like this is not good governance, and it takes away the power not only of local governments, but of voters in local elections who have the power and should have the power to decide who is at the helm of local decision-making. Building this prison does not address the underlying issue that creates a Nebraska with high incarceration rates. It's unfortunate that the $370 million will not be used for proven interventions that reduce incarceration rates, keep our community safe, and provide rehabilitation and restoration. Nebraskans deserve a better use of their tax dollars, Lincolnites deserve accountability and transparency, and Northeast Lincoln residents deserve hospitals, not prisons.
Thank you, Councilman Bowers. Councilman Weber.
Thank you, Chair Beckius. This has been, in my opinion, in the last 11 months, the most frustrating issue that I've had to deal with as a member on the City Council, and I think my colleague, Councilman Bowers, did a great job illustrating why this is so frustrating, and it's because of the leverage that the state holds in this process, and it also, as two lifelong North Lincoln residents, it feels like another thing that is just being dropped in North Lincoln with any regard for the residents. And so because of that, I find it very frustrating. When I went to bed last night, I was confident that I was going to be voting no on this. Because when I talk about wanting to see investment in North Lincoln, I don't mean a prison, I mean retail, I mean recreational opportunities, and I mean more affordable housing. The reason that we are here is because this was a failure, the process was a failure on the state side of things. There were 70 potential locations that we could have had this prison in this state, and there was zero public engagement of any of these sites from the governor's office or anyone in his administration, both prior to any designation and then even after the designation of the first location, when there were countless constituents who were upset, who were having their lives impacted by this. There was silence from the state. And that lack of public engagement is not what I believe representational government should look like and how it should operate. There should have been an opportunity for the folks at the Waterford Estates and the surrounding neighborhoods at that first location. They should have had the ability to tell the state how that location would have impacted them. And families like the Vacies, who are facing this similar unfortunate event, also should have had the ability to tell the decision makers how this was going to impact their family. It was a failure of public process, and I'm really disappointed in the way the state handled this. The governor and no one in his administration reached out to any of the members on the city council before naming his first location or the second location, and didn't reach out to any of the county commissioners. With all of that being said, and while I would like to vote no on the governor's prison, and I'm not sure that it is necessarily the right location for a prison, I am sure that it is a better alternative than the first location. And I'm also sure that the state, as my colleague Councilman Bowers had alluded to, has the leverage in making this decision. And so when faced with a yes or a no, I view it as either putting it in the fastest growing part of Northeast Lincoln or in a area where it is still unfortunate and should not be, but is the better location. And so for that reason, I will unfortunately be voting yes. And I would like to thank city staff for making a bad situation a whole lot better for some families.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
Other comments? Yes, Councilman Duden?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure that the city of Lincoln was given much of an opportunity on this, or at least maybe it stopped at the top. Maybe the council and the county commissioners were not informed of it, but I've been told that the governor was interested in this second site as being the first site, and was basically told no, and that this wasn't even wanted in Lincoln. And I feel sorry for the 500 plus some families in Lincoln who work at the state penitentiary that could have lost their jobs, that sort of thing. I think that would have been a grave mistake. And although I will agree that first site at 112th was not a good site at all, the second site is going to be an inconvenience. I feel sorry for the people with the acreage there. Hopefully you'll have enough trees and what have you to block a lot of the things that might be annoying from that area. But I think as a second choice, it was a good choice. So sorry that it's going to cost so much to get the roads and everything else to that location, all the infrastructure that is going to be required. So.
Thank you, Councilman. Other comments? Councilwoman Washington.
I'll keep my comments short. I think my fellow colleagues have really spoken very well about the process. I want to say thank you to everyone in Northeast Lincoln and every constituent, every resident of Lincoln who spoke up, because even though it does not appear the state was listening, we were listening, and it really does matter that you exercise your voice. And given the situation we have today with voting on a site that is better than the first site but not necessarily desirable, our job is to make certain that whatever voices the state will listen to, that we do our very best to mitigate the most grave impacts on the neighbors that will be at this site. So I promise that we're going to work for mitigations, and it's not going to feel good right now. I recognize that.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Other comments? All right, very good. Go ahead and call the roll.
Weber,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 7E is Comprehensive Plan Conformance 24005, declaring approximately 314.51 acres of city-owned property generally located at the intersection of North 70th Street and Interstate 80 as surplus, introduced by Carlson.
So moved.
Second?
Second, Washington. Discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 7F, Annexation 24002, application of the city to annex approximately 440 acres, more or less, in the adjacent public right-of-way, generally located east and west of North 70th and north of Interstate 80, introduced by Carlson.
So moved.
Second?
Second, Washington. Discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Washington,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 7G, change of zone 24004, application of the City of Lincoln to change the zone from AG Agricultural District to P Public on property generally located between Highway 77 and North 84th Street from Interstate 80 to Bluff Road, introduced by Carlson.
So moved.
Second?
Second, Washington. Discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. 7H, Street and Alley Vacation 24004, request of City of Lincoln to vacate the remnant right-of-way for McKelvey Road east of North 70th Street, adjacent to property generally located at 1/4 mile north of intersection of North 70th Street and Interstate 80, introduced by Carlson.
So moved.
Second?
Second, Washington. Discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Weber,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 7I, approving a real property exchange agreement between the City of Lincoln and the State of Nebraska for property generally located along the north side of Adams Street between 102nd and 112th Streets, and city-owned property located generally northeast of the intersection of North 70th and Interstate 80, introduced by Carlson.
So moved.
Second?
Second, Washington. Discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. That ends our third reading ordinances. Our resolutions first reading are items 8A through 8E. Ordinances first reading and related resolutions, items 9A through 9B. And our pending list, we still have items 10A through 10H.
I would entertain a motion.
I would move adjournment.
Second.
Second, Duden. Please call the roll.
Duden,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
We are adjourned.